The Samsung Galaxy S3 could be the smartest device I've ever held in my hands because this Android superphone does a lot of things that the competition can't. It can actually follow your eyes to keep the screen on so that it doesn't dim on you. You can share things between Galaxy S3s with just a tap, and there's a built-in voice assistant called S-Voice that's similar to Siri, but it has some unique tricks up its sleeve. We're going to show you everything that we like and what we don't about the Samsung Galaxy S3. Let's start with the physical design of the Galaxy S3. One thing that we like about this phone is that it crams a 4.8-inch Full HD screen into a design that's nice and thin and light. It weighs 4.7 ounces and just 0.3 inches thick, so this is one of the thinner devices that you're going to find on the market. And the aesthetics are pretty good, but as you can see, it picks up fingerprints in a hurry, so you'll want to definitely get the white version if you're worried about that. But the faux brushed metal finish might be to some liking on the blue edition. In terms of the competition, the Galaxy S3 is a little bit thinner and lighter than the HTC One X. And it's also a little bit more one-hand friendly because instead of having the power button on the top and stretching your index finger all the way up here, the power button is on the left-hand side right near where your thumb is, so it's a little bit easier to use. When it comes to getting around the Galaxy S3, you have three options right front and center underneath the screen. You have a home button right here, as well as a menu key and a back key, and these are capacitive buttons. Overall, we think it works well, but there's a couple of things that we don't like. One is that there's no dedicated recent app button, so it's a little bit harder to multitask than it is on other ice cream sandwich phones. Here, you have to press and hold, and it takes a little while for that menu to show up, but once it does, it's easy to multitask. So that's one thing that we don't like. And then these buttons themselves are not that very well lit, so you'll just have to remember the location of those buttons. Where the Samsung Galaxy S3 really starts to flex its muscles is software, and that starts with the home screen where you'll see these 4 customizable shortcuts so you can launch into any application that you want. And if you see down here, there's a little news ticker and you can see all the latest news at a glance. So let's say you want to launch into the camera, you don't even have to touch this icon. All you have to do is just hold the Galaxy S3 as you would a camera. Put one finger on the screen, pivot, and you're ready to shoot. One of the big themes of the Galaxy S3 is sharing, and one of the applications that really takes advantage of that capability is S-Beam, and it leverages Wi-Fi Direct along with NFC to let you share photos or even huge HD video files between 2 devices with just a tap. I'm going to show you how it works. So let's say you have a Galaxy S3, the one that we have from Sprint. This is the one from AT&T. We just put them on top of one another. We touch the middle, and you can see that it's ready to send the file. And on the other side, it's starting to come right through. And this is a great way to share images at high resolution without having to go over social networks. And it's especially great for HD video because there's a cap on what you can send in terms of the amount of megabytes. The Galaxy S3 includes all sorts of other neat tricks, and that includes just the notification drawer and what you can do from there. So for example, if you scroll down from the top of the screen, you can see that there's all these settings that you can toggle just with a tap. That includes Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, and mute. But there's a lot of other cool things that you can show off. So for example, let's say you start playing a video file and you want to multitask. And this is something that we don't know is all that practical, but it's still pretty cool. So you start playing a photo or video right here. And this is called pop-up play. So you press this little thing over here in the bottom right-hand corner. So even if you go into another application, let's say you're looking at email or the web, you can continue to have a video playing in the background, no matter what application that you have open. Unfortunately, this doesn't work for premium videos that you would get from, let's say, Netflix or the Media Hub that Samsung has, but we hope that the capability expands. The Galaxy S3 has a lot of handy gestures built into the interface. So for example, if you want to just capture a screenshot, you wave your hand from left to right going across the screen. But my personal favorite is direct call. So let's say you're in a text messaging session and you want to go from texting to calling. All you have to do is just hold the handset up to your head, and you can see that it automatically dials that contact. And this also works in the context menu if you have that person's card open. There's no getting around the fact that S-Voice for the Galaxy S3 looks pretty familiar to Siri fans out there. But it does give you pretty good functionality for your dollar. So for example, if you want to ask what the weather's going to be, is it going to rain tomorrow?
The forecast for tomorrow is mostly sunny, hot and humid.
So the voice is a little more robotic than Siri, but Again, the S-Voice does come in handy for a lot of things. You can use it for text messaging, opening applications, and even sending tweets. So how well does the Galaxy S3 perform? With its Qualcomm Snapdragon processor and 2 gigs of RAM, overall, this handset is pretty speedy, especially when it comes to the camera. So you can see here that this is the best shot mode, and you can take up to 3 frames per second. This will take 8 shots in a row. And you'll see all the thumbnails show up at the bottom of the screen. So similar to the HTC One X, you can select the image that you want and discard all the rest. If there's one complaint that we have about the performance, is just how long it takes to go back to the home screen when you're within an application. So even though the navigation overall is really nice and smooth and opening apps is fast, for some reason we just notice a little bit of a lag between pressing that home button and going back to the main screen. Overall, the Samsung Galaxy S3 is one of our favorite Android phones on the market, and it's not just because it crams a 4.8-inch display inside a very thin design. It's simply one of the smartest smartphones that we've ever tested. You're going to spend weeks having fun with all the neat tricks that are up this phone's sleeve. If we have a couple of complaints, it's just that the screen is not quite as bright as the competition, and there's just a little bit of lag that creeps in once in a while with the TouchWiz interface. But overall, the Samsung Galaxy S3 is easily one of the top phones for AT&T and one of the best smartphones money can buy.